What are you making of the movement we're seeing at the NSE at the moment? Some are saying we are targeting 3,383 points at this stage.
Thank you, Alicia. I think what we're going to see in the immediate term is a little bit of a pullback. The NSE has been on a rise. It's been advancing like for the last 5 weeks. So I think talking about 3,383 right now is a little bit premature. But I think probably over the next month or two, we'll get there. But right now, I'm anticipating a slight pause, and then maybe going forward into next week and the week after that, as the fund managers come in to perform their end-of-year purchases, we might see a slight rise. 3,300, I would say probably until early 2010.
Well, let's take a look in the meantime at some of the major market movers we saw on the gainer board yesterday. KPLC ranking at the top. We know that at the end of last week it announced that it's planning a rights issue in which the government will actually give up some of its shareholding. A good move in your books?
Yes, I think it's actually a good move. At the moment, the KPLC share has been pretty illiquid for a while, and this move will make the share more tradable, more affordable to retail investors. I think at the end of the day, it's a good book. KPLC, it's a good move. KPLC tends to trade at around 140 shillings a share. And the split could bring the price down to anything between 10 and 30 shillings a share, making it more affordable to retail investors, making the share more liquid and making the share more attractive.
What's the investment merit, though? Because, you know, it's no use just jumping in because the shares are cheap. We've got this share price yesterday closing at 158 shillings compared to a year high of 295 shillings. And that despite the company recording a 75% jump in pre-tax profit for its year ended June. What's the investment merit of KPLC right now in your books?
KPLC has several investment merits right now. First and foremost, they're a power distribution utility in Kenya. They are responsible. They have the sole responsibility for the transmission and distribution of power in the country. The other thing is the energy demands in the country are growing considerably. Our Vision 2030 plan, which is a country's developmental plan over the medium and long term, states that demand for energy is going to increase by 8% per year between now and the year 2030. So we have a company with a dominant market position and a growing growing demand. So I think there's solid investment rationale behind it.
Ranking second on that gainer board, Centum. I mean, we saw the company report first half pre-tax profits sliding to 114 million shillings from 407 million shillings a year earlier, while operating costs also rose 74% in the 6 months to the end of September. One would have imagined that the market would not be too pleased with those numbers. So why that spike yesterday of 7.2%?
I think probably what Centum did a few months ago is acquire 22% stake in Carbacid Investments, which is a carbon dioxide manufacturer. And Carbacid reported very good earnings per share of around 20 shillings per share this year. And they also reported dividends amounting to 15 shillings a share. So some investors are probably seeing that investment in Carbacid trickling down to Centum.
On the flip side, though, if we look at the loser board, we've got Carbacid Investments falling back almost consistently over the past week and a half. And yesterday ranking right at the top there, a decline of 9.7% on that share price. Some would say the counter due for a correction, having run so hard after it came back to trade a couple of weeks ago. But to what extent is part of the decline that we've seen in Carbacid's investments share price being attributed to the 2-for-1 bonus share issue that came into effect a couple of Fridays ago?
That's a very valid observation. Definitely when the bonus share issue takes place, there'll be more shares in circulation, more shares being floated on the stock exchange. So the unit value per share is going to drop. So that accounts for a huge proportion of why the share has declined.
So not necessarily all things bad associated with Carbacid right now. Of course, going back to Centum, I mean, most of Centum's investments are in blue chip stocks on the NSE. Its underlying value of its current portfolio rose by 231 million shillings, and the company certainly seeming confident about the strength of its portfolio moving forward. Are you as confident in the company's ability there?
I think I am confident in the company's ability there. Centum's portfolio is comprised of approximately 60% private equity, approximately 35% listed stocks on the NSE, and a small portion of real estate there. I'm thinking that the market is facing an upturn over the next few months as positive sentiment surrounding the economy begins to take grip. And also, investors are seeing the Nairobi Stock Exchange as being undervalued right now because of the local power rationing situation, which meant that the NSE lost a little bit of ground on global markets. But now that the economic outlook is improving, investor confidence is coming back, I can see the equities market staging a steady rise over the next 6 months or so, and I think Centum will be a beneficiary of that rise.
Very quickly, Judd, of course, we've got all eyes on the central bank's decision on interest rates today, that announcement being made later this afternoon, and most anticipating that the central bank will leave rates unchanged at 7.75%. Your expectations?
I also hold that expectation. The central bank has been very quiet in terms of monetary intervention over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Very little repo activity, not injecting any repos, indicating that the central bank is content with the level of liquidity in the market right now. So I think they'll probably hold the rate steady as well.